The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
Would necessitate having a 24-hour sun in the south.
On a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica.
Flat Earth friends message me and say, Mark, how about Antarctica and the round earther experiment? You're right, we need to get ahead of this. The globe trolls have gotten together and come up with an experiment, not really an experiment, where they go to Antarctica and just stare and see if the sun sets. That's it, seriously, because we've never thought of that in 10 years. A 24-hour sun in Antarctica does not debunk Flat Earth.
Well, if you're that confident, why did you say no when somebody offered to pay for you to go and see for yourself?
Please subscribe.
The problem is that, one, no one gets into Flat Earth because of the sun.
I completely agree. Most people get into Flat Earth because they're gullible.
And two, if you did see the 24-hour sun, it would just show that there's something else in the sky that we don't know about and you don't either.
And that, boys and girls, is what moving the goalposts looks like.
It doesn't address anything in physics like gravity, it doesn't address the lack of curvature with long-distance photography, and it literally has nothing to do with all the plot holes tied to every space program in history.
Maybe not, but what it does do is show just how idiotic every flat earther who's ever claimed you can't have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica really is.
So if the trolls want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, make a series of videos, all of which draw more attention to the flat earth theory without me lifting a finger, outstanding. Do your own research and see who's spreading hate and who is preaching love about the flat earth.
Right, so that's what Nathan Oakley is doing in this clip. He's preaching flat earth love.
Shut up! Stop talking and tell me how you vary gravity.
This is Feature Minor. So Mark Sargent has revealed his thoughts on the final experiment coming up in about a month from now. So a little over a month, we'll see the results come in.
You're absolutely spot on, Mr. Feed Your Mind, because come the end of December, anybody who is at all interested in the whole flat earth, globe earth debate is gonna be able to see just how completely ridiculous flat earthers are, because we already know what the results are gonna be. And you lot are terrified. And quite rightly so, because your grift is almost over.
And so Mark Sargent basically saying that no one gets into flat earth based on the sun. So flat earth information is based on the earth being level.
But flat and level are not the same thing because they refer to different orientations in space. Flat describes a surface with no curvature, but level describes a surface that is perpendicular to the direction of gravity at that point. Due to the curvature of Earth, a surface that is level, like water in a lake, will actually be slightly curved over long distances, not perfectly flat. And when flat earthers insist that flat and level are the same, all they're doing is demonstrating a massive misunderstanding of basic geometry and physics.
Seeing a sunset or not, he's saying, is not going to change anything.
You're quite right. The sun being in the sky for 24 hours isn't going to change anything because it did exactly the same last year and the year before that and the year before that.
And actually, it's a win-win situation for the flat earth, because if this gets a whole lot of media attention, he's saying this is going to be helpful to the flat earth, because
there'll be more people laughing at you because more people will potentially be aware of this insane argument.
We've been through this type of stuff before as flat earthers, where media will come in with some type of thing where they think that they're gonna get a win out of it, but instead it does the opposite. And
now it's interesting that you say it does the opposite, and I kind of agree with you, because every time somebody makes some sort of documentary about the flat earth, it always highlights just how completely ridiculous every single flat earther on the planet is, and it usually confirms that the earth is a globe as well.
I mean, it's his
he's saying basically that if this gets a lot of attention, that's going to be a benefit for the flat earth, because you're going to have the flat earthers still arguing their points about the shape of the earth.
Right, so what you're saying then is that flat earthers are going to just completely ignore the evidence they presented with by the final experiment.
This is a interesting take on the final experiment where, yeah, I mean, the sun is not going to determine the shape of the earth, you know, so.
But that isn't the claim. The final experiment isn't saying that the sun proves that the earth is a globe. It's the fact that the sun is going to stay in the sky overhead for 24 hours that says that the earth is a globe, because, as flat earthers have said, and I'm fed up of repeating this, but it is impossible on a flat earth, and every flat earther knows this, which is why there is so much damage control going on from the flat earth side of this argument. Here we are, we'll do our own little experiment right now this second. Press pause on my video and go and look up any flat earther's channel, and I guarantee there will be at least a few videos on there trying to debunk the final experiment before this even happened.
I like how he kind of...
And he is doing exactly what I just said other flat earthers are doing. He is trying to discredit the final experiment.
The people out there to let you know that this isn't going to be the end-all, be-all that this final experiment guy thinks it's going to be, you know, and...
Yeah, but it is, unless you can explain how a 24-hour sun would work on a flat earth, which none of you can.
I'm still holding out hope that, hey, maybe you're going to see the sunset, and that will prove flat earth. I'll take that as a win for sure. I mean, if it goes that direction, I'm going to see that as a victory.
And that's exactly what it would be, because if the sun does set when the guys are down there in December, it's a huge problem for the globe earth side of the argument, in exactly the same way as it's a huge problem for the flat earth side of the argument if the sun doesn't set.
I mean, how is the globe earth gonna explain a sunset?
We wouldn't be able to. That's why I just said it would be a huge problem for globe earth. But unlike flat earthers, none of us are worried. I have said publicly, and I will say it again now, if the sun sets when the guys are down there for the final experiment, I will proclaim that I no longer accept that the earth is a globe. And I know other creators who do the same as me have said exactly the same thing.
But if there is a 24-hour sun, well...
Flat earthers are
proper Yeah, Tommy.
How are we going to explain that? Well, you got sundogs, you know, where you have reflective properties of the dome firmament. And so, you know, there's all types of options.
Yeah, but options are usually better when they're based in reality. So if the sun does stay in the sky for 24 hours on your flat earth, that's still okay, because it might just be reflecting off that thing that you all think covers the earth that nobody has ever been able to demonstrate even exists.
That we can explore as far as to how could there be a 24-hour sun. I go over a lot of this stuff in my flat earth final experiment playlist, so
I've got one of those as well, and it'll be linked in the end card.
I'll leave a link to that in the comment section and description box so you can go over all of my ideas. I mean, we cover the artificial sun possibility where, yeah, a lot of people thought, like I said in my last video, a lot of people thought that the artificial sun idea is saying that the sun we have in the sky now is artificial, and they didn't understand that. No, we're saying that they can somehow maybe try to, you know, if the sun sets, and then they could possibly bring in an artificial sun.
And you don't think that's maybe stretching it, even by flat earther standards?
And make it seem like, oh wow, the sun is still in the sky, but we just saw it set a while ago, so now the sun's back.
Right, so for that little idea to work, the sun actually needs to set and then be magically replaced by an artificial sun. Well, you should have said that sooner. Actually, I better WhatsApp Dave McKeegan and tell him to be on the lookout for that very thing in case he hasn't thought of it himself.
That would be how I would suspect they would use any artificial sun technology. Plus, there's a lot of other hypotheses about the possible 24-hour sun on a flat earth.
Now, there's always a lot of conversation in the comment sections under my videos as to whether or not the flat earth is a hypothesis at all, and I think I've just got a definitive answer to that very question for you. And the answer is, no, it's not, and I'll explain why. It's because a hypothesis is an educated guess. facts. And flat earthers are not educated. Maybe that's not fair. Maybe they are educated, but they're educated by other flat earthers, which also isn't going to help them much.
What I think they're looking for with the final experiment is the sun circling in the sky.
And that's exactly what they're going to see, and I can say that with 100% confidence.
They want to see in the final experiment if the sun will hover in the sky and do a 360 like it does in the Arctic during the summer solstice.
You do realize, flat earthers, that right now, this very second, there's a 24-hour sun happening in Antarctica, and it is no coincidence that the exact opposite is happening in the Arctic or the North Pole. They are currently in their winter, which means they get 24 hours of no sunlight.
So if it does that in the south, you know, in the Antarctic area, well, what would that mean?
Well, it would mean that the Earth isn't flat, but none of you are going to believe that, are you?
I mean, that's where I would say that, honestly, we would have to look at that and, you know, explain that, figure out a way to explain it.
See, and that's the difference between flat earthers and globe earthers. We haven't got to try to explain anything. We can just explain it, because all we have to do is look up the evidence that supports our position, and there is a lot of it.
It was interesting to see Mark Sargent's thoughts on this whole subject and what he feels about this final experiment.
Now, Mark Sargent having thoughts, well, I'm not as sure as you seem to be. And he feels exactly the same as every other flat earther. And the feeling he is feeling is called fear.
I'm fucking shitting myself.
He's basically saying it's something that, of course, I mean, he's saying that, yeah, this is not something that we haven't thought of.
Yep, that's fair, because we've all heard flat earthers saying for years that you can't have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
You know, it's an experiment that, you know, is something that we've considered before. So now we finally have someone that's willing to put the money up to do an experiment like this.
Exactly. So why is every prominent flat earther that's been invited to go completely free of charge declined the invitation then?
Yeah, TRH had an interesting final experiment idea where he would say that to do a real final experiment, you would have to get two planes going in opposite directions.
Oh, so Dave Wise had that really stupid idea as well then. Why am I not surprised? It's not exactly financially viable, is it?
And circumnavigate Antarctica and see how many hours it takes.
So do something that's already been done multiple times. Well, here we are, the start of week 2 of trying to do everything I possibly can to reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of 2024. Do you think I'll do it? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Oh, and one other thing just before I go, because it's my birthday today. I'm 52 years old. Yay! But before I go, I just wanted to check whether or not you think I should do a CC video every week. Because after all, and I don't mean long term, I mean during November. I'll see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow night. Love you, bye.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, ever, ever.